My, oh my friends, it looks like the grifter, the so-called crazy conservative, known as Marjorie Taylor Greene, is gone, or will be leaving. She's announced her resignation. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you see, rode into Congress back in 2022, trying to be the hype woman for Donald Trump. She was gun-toting, she did photo ops, and was always about America first. But she never did anything about her rhetoric, meaning it was all a bunch of PR garbage where she just grifted her way in. All she did was fight against Republicans in the House, and she certainly made a lot of enemies with the moderates in the party with her battle to, for example, to try to get rid of Mike Johnson, which failed. And then she fought with Trump at every turn. Aside from the Epstein drama, there was the foreign aid fights and her useless run on the DOJ committee. Subcommittee where she did absolutely nothing that she promised to do, produced no bills to crack down on government efficiency, and she was selling books and bilking taxpayers out of millions of dollars for funding, and she did nothing at all with this. And so, surprise, surprise, after Donald Trump yanked his endorsement, she decided, well, I'm going to just turn over a new leaf. I'm going to go cozy up with the Democrats. And you know what? The Democrats weren't interested in having her be their new battle pass toy. They still hated her.
Congresswoman, you posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country.
So just to put a button on this, you regret the things that you have said and posted in the past, the Facebook post that was taken down of you in 2020 holding a gun alongside the squad, encouraging people to go on the offense against the socialists, liking a tweet of somebody calling for the execution of Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama, just examples?
Well, Dana, as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then, and okay. I very much stand by my words I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example, and I hope that President Trump can do the same.
She wasn't going to be able to become a moderate that somehow would be able to ride the line. Conservatives were abandoning her, the MAGA party was abandoning her, and there was not nearly enough Democrats who would potentially vote for her. So her political career was essentially shot. Her era of being the grifter on the Republican side over. And so she announced her resignation, and Donald Trump is finding it hilarious. Let's take a look a little bit at her announcement.
I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in.
Let's be honest, that's not really why. You were a little different, a little strange.
Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are...
That is a massive oversimplification of the problem. Are there enemies of Republican values on the right who try to grift? Yes. And we've seen it over the last 2-3 decades, which is why we ended up with the Donald Trump. But the hating the other side thing is not at all a Republican problem. Not in any way, shape, manner, or form that even is on the same playing field, same universe as the left, who have devolved into Anyone who's not with them is a fascist, is a monster, is a Hitler, needs to be eradicated. The left is on the precipice of ordering death camps for those who oppose them. This is where things are going. That's what cancel culture was all about, was depersoning people. It is the very early stages of what you see in communist takeovers of countries. You can see this with Mao Zedong, where they would force people up onto public platforms to apologize for their evilness of voting against the party. It all leads to death camps, and that's exactly where the Democrat Party was headed to, and I don't think that's even a little bit of hyperbole. That's really where things were going. The radicals who want this kind of violence were taking over the party and are well on their way to being the supermajority. We'll see if they can turn that around. It's unlikely at this juncture, but you never know.
Always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by...
And what was she doing to fix the problem? Nothing. Did she try to cut government power and spending when she had the chance? Nope. Just a bunch of hot air and talk.
Visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations.
And when you have an actual president who's trying to remove illegal aliens en masse, what was she doing? Everything in her power to sideline the president with other issues that didn't matter a hill of beans when it comes to saving the country. So even this exit speech is nothing more than a grift, hoping to get some sympathy, maybe a book deal down the road. Maybe she can be a political commentator on some trash left-wing news site, which is probably where she'll end up. It's just Marjorie Taylor Greene, a classic.
Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar.
And did she do anything to curb it when she was on the Doge subcommittee? No. Did absolutely nothing. Didn't even try. Was there a single attempt to curb all of this? Nope. Donald Trump had to do everything. Doge with Elon Musk had to do everything. But where was Marjorie Taylor Greene? Doing nothing but talk. That's all she ever does.
Continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart.
I think the only thing that breaks her heart is getting kicked out. So let's talk about the president's reaction to all of this. Trump is celebrating Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's goodbye from Congress. President Trump is hailing Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's surprising resignation announcement. I don't think this was surprising. Maybe the timing, but there's no way she was going to get reelected. Nobody wants to be, like, especially if you know you have no chance of winning, you don't want to be embarrassed on a national scale if you have any hopes or dreams of making a comeback somewhere down the line or having some kind of political career, even if it's not as an elected official. If you get embarrassed, you're kind of nuking your chances to have a follow-up career. So she's abandoning her role right now so she can try to salvage something and have some kind of, political commentator career. That's where I think this is going. Anyway, Trump says, I think it's great news for the country. It's great. The president indicated that Greene did not share her plans with him ahead of social media posts announcing her intention to leave office on January 5th and said he had no plans to speak to her. Yeah, because he's ignoring her because she's acting like a crazy bitch. And I think he realizes that there is no value in talking to this woman. And Trump says, it doesn't matter, but I think it's great. I think she should be happy. Yeah, happy away from the American people, considering that she did nothing to improve anything for conservatives or Republicans. Now, the Marjorie Traitor Brown, as he calls her, because of plummeting poll numbers and not wanting to face a primary challenger with a strong Trump endorsement where she would have no chance of winning, has decided to call it quits. Yeah, so, and that's pretty much it, you know. She knew she was foobarred. She knew she had no prayer, and she didn't want to get embarrassed because, again, if she's going to have any chance of making money off the political world, she needs to not get obliterated by votes. You know, well, look, Donald Trump allows way too many people to get close to him, at least to a certain degree. But he's notorious for wiping out many insurrections within his own party. People who try to cozy up to him and then backstab him, he obliterates them. He'll let a lot of people close to him, but you cross him and he'll go after you, which is a role that good leaders have to do. It's just the way that, you know, you can't allow people, like if you got a boat and you're trying to arrive at a destination and you're trying to row your way there, you can't have people rowing in different directions. Just saying. So anyway, I think it's wonderful. Goodbye to the Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, she could have done something with herself. Instead, chose to be a grifter and accomplish absolutely nothing.